Hi, I think I'm live. I'm here with Stardust. Alright, so today I'm going live with sound. Let's make sure, yeah, the sound is on. With sound to paint because, well, baby just woke up, so now I am in a good mood. But I've been really sad due to one of my muses who passed away earlier this month. So I need to paint. And I'm also a mom, so we're multitasking here. We listen to music and we're gonna paint on the Sunday afternoon. Let all our emotions out. I started painting to deal with death, so it just, yeah, it's what I do. So I guess I'm gonna use this opportunity that there's volume to kind of just like talk about my creative process and what goes on in my brain. This feels a little awkward, but no one's watching, so what is there to be awkward about if no one's watching? I'm gonna paint with exterior paint today because the goal is I'm doing this project with all of, I don't know if you can see the flowers on my windowsill. So those flowers are actually with exterior paint, except for the neon one I did last time on my live. And I'm doing them for this project in my community. And this one is gonna be inspired by this friend I had. I haven't seen her in 8 years, but unfortunately, she's no longer with us. And I think everyone that knew her is just really just heartbroken, myself included. It's really sad, especially when someone dies suddenly. So yeah, so we'll paint the emotions out today. Very sad time, but in life you have to go forward. Sometimes it's really hard, but you do have to grieve, and this is how I grieve. So grieve with us. So we're using burr paint today. Side note, if I was a drag queen, Burrito would be my name, spelled like this paint. Why would I? Alright, so there's a challenge with these types of paints because they're exterior. You can't really mix them. I know, you can't mix them. What is this madness? I don't know what to do. I just, I said she was my muse, meaning I used to, let's talk about this. So what is a muse? A muse is someone who inspires an artist to create, and I am that stereotypical artist. I've had many muses. My muses have been painted on physically, and when that happens, I get really connected with them. So everyone I painted, it's like family to me. It's like a part of my soul is with them. So losing this person is very hard because I haven't seen her in forever, and there's like a lot of guilt in there. And yeah, so we're gonna paint a muse from memory. I just looked up the picture I had done of her because it's been like 12, 10, 11 years since I had done her original portrait, which honestly in retrospect, if I edit this video, I'll add it in. So I'm gonna be inspired by that image, and it's really sad to look at that image now, so I don't want to look at it, but I remember it, so that's what we're gonna be inspired by. So here we are. Let's paint to some techno music while being low-key really sad and grieving while it's a smiling baby beside you. Yeah. Where do we start? I don't have many colors because most of my colors were for flowers, and I'm feeling sad, so I feel like bright colors isn't right. It doesn't feel right. So maybe we'll start with white. I'm gonna do this board, this whole board, this entire board. Oh, now I'm getting ideas. Now that I'm seeing the colors, we're gonna do some oranges and yellows. All right, I'm gonna start with highlighting the areas. I don't really know. I have an idea, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. Kind of just ends up being a pretty flower. She was such a beautiful flower. This techno reminds me of, actually, when I used to hang out with her, actually one year she got us all to go to the club on New Year's Eve, and we weren't really into that, but we're like, yeah, hell yeah, we'll go. And saw a lot of girls without pants that night. All right, also, today's the first day in months. No, that's not true. It's the first day in a week that I do my makeup. And before coming live, I had a lot of text messages and phone calls with family members and people that are affected by this death. And it got me really emotional. And right after I did my makeup, like I knew I did my makeup because I was like, I need to film shit today because I can't edit because of my nails. And right before I went on, I just started bawling, which is good. It's good to cry. A good cry is necessary in people's lives, you know? Especially when you're grieving. But anyway, so my makeup's a little messed up, but I'm okay. The reason why I'm kind of taking a step back and acknowledging my emotions right now is because postpartum is so common. No one talks about it. I think when it's one thing being pregnant, but after you're pregnant, it's like your body has gone through so much. Like me personally, like my birth, at living it was like it happened so fast. But now that I'm reliving it and analyzing what happened during the birthing process, like it's very traumatic. And I think after you give birth, you're just so high on emotion. Me personally, I'm being hyper alert because I do have a history of falling into like really bad depression, like spirals. But the hardest thing for me since giving birth hasn't been the baby, honestly. Being pregnant sucked, but being a mom has been an absolute joy. He's amazing. But what's been hard is like everything around me. Like 2 days after I gave birth, I work in youth outreach. Well, I used to. And one of my old participants, I found out they tried to end their life 2 days after I gave birth, and it was someone I was very close to. And that was really hard. Like 2 days after giving birth and then finding that out, that was hard. And I really wasn't physically well. Like all I wanted to do was go hug this person when I had to be there for my baby and myself and just not move, which is really hard for me to not move. So that happened 2 days after. And then I had family members that mean the world to me that don't talk to me anymore because of their parent. And that's been really hard. That's been heartbreaking. And not being allowed to see people that you really love for reasons that have nothing to do with you or the people, just outside sources. And because they're young, I can't go against their parents' wishes, you know? So I'm just being respectful, waiting for them to turn 18 so I can hug them again. I really miss them. And then also before I got pregnant, me and my husband, we each lost a really important uncle. And then, yeah, baby's been fine. We dealt with people's attempts. And then we actually spent the summer, I feel like, only going to funerals. And that's been really hard. I'm very empathetic and I'm full of emotion right now. So when you go to someone that's your age's funeral and you're not that old, it's hard. It's hard because then it's like you're sad for so many things, but you try to find one thing to be sad about. But it's like life, right? Sometimes life happens. And I think since the pandemic, mental illness has been a big issue. So that's been really hard. And then I see my really good friends maybe once a month. And then I feel like every time we see each other, all we do is talk about who's passed away. And then earlier this month, I was saying earlier in my life, one of my muses passed away very suddenly, leaving behind an awesome husband and a very young son and it's just like, I've always had a lot of people die around me, but now that I have a son and the circumstances, it's just like, it's so much more hard to deal with. But am I just grieving death or is it like postpartum coming out that way? So all that to say, I'm trying to be very vocal with the people around me. I have an amazing support system. And I had all these plans for these interviews and these scripted videos, but I just can't right now. I just can't. And that's okay. So I'm going to go live a bunch and just paint. which is what I'm doing today. But yeah, so this is all exterior paint. It's really hard to mix. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just letting the colors flow. I do see an image forming right now. I don't know if you guys are gonna see it, but I started painting because I was sad. And when I'm really happy, I don't want to paint. But when I'm really sad, I want to paint. So when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. It's just so tragic, especially this last one. It's just so tragic. And I also feel a lot of guilt because I haven't seen anyone I used to see in years, but that's okay. It's not my fault any of this happened. It's guilt of being like I'm realizing there's a lot of people, if they did pass away tomorrow, there's things I need to tell them. So I could just call them, but I'm gonna try to go see them and tell them. But yeah, life is short, and I feel like the older you get, the more people start dying. It's just, we've all been through a lot. I think people underestimate since the pandemic. Good boy, Warhol. My puppy, who is an old man now, is absolutely the sweetest. So we're just painting our emotions. And I'm just gonna say what's on my mind while I paint. But yeah, I am definitely, when it comes to art, gotten in trouble. This is the only time I would ever like be like a smart ass was when it came to art. And I'm sure other things, but that's all I remember right now as an adult. But all that to say, I am breaking some cardinal rules with this painting right now. Like, I did not prime my wood. If you're working on wood, definitely prime your wood. I am using a paint primer, so as long as I do cover everything, I'm good. It's also a paint, like, you don't want to have thick and like bubbly. Does that make sense? Because it will peel off. So I'm definitely doing layers of thickness. So what are you gonna do? Art has rules, but they're all meant to be broken. I really do admire people that like paint very beautiful paintings when they're like sincerely happy, because for me, I feel like the more people like my painting, the more I was like, oh, I was like in a dark place for that one. And the ones I paint when I'm happy, people don't really like. But I like because they're happy. Or my paintings that have to do with more like saying something critical about society or about my own family and life. People don't get it. I just think they just don't get it. But I love them. So in my house, I either have paintings that no one likes or that people just don't get. So I don't want to sell it to people that don't get it. So I'm just hoarding my own paintings pretty much. All right, so my goal right now is to cover every surface because, like I said, I did not prime my wood. And then I do have some images forming, and those will be the images. J'ai aucune idée pourquoi je suis en train de parler en anglais, pour être très honnête. Dans le fond, je pense en français, donc je devrais parler en français, non? C'est tellement bizarre d'être avec quelqu'un d'anglophone dans ma vie. Parce que des fois, je pense qu'il sait pas comment drôle que je suis parce qu'il comprend pas mes jokes en français. True story. Alright. So, like I said earlier, you're not supposed to blend these colors, but I don't care. I'm going to blend them anyways. The only thing you have to be really careful with using like wall paint to paint is if you blend certain shades, depending, because it's all like chemicals, right? And it's all science, but depending what colors you mix and what family of tones they use, it will just turn into like a brown mud, which will happen. But you can just paint over it. Yellow reminds me of my tante Henriette, who passed away when I was sick. I must have been 15, might have just turned 16. I'll never forget. I was at my boyfriend at the time, Brian's house. and I saw the message. And it's like I saw like a tunnel vision, just my whole world went like whoosh. It was so sad. She was awesome. She was way too young. I feel like when I was a kid, it was a lot of cancer, so like you kind of like knew the person was gonna pass away, and lately it's like sudden deaths. It's cool. I don't even have the color teal. I made the color teal. There came a point a couple years ago. I have a Raynaud's. My father has it too, and seeing him go through it is kind of terrifying. But I used to be able to like paint such straight lines, but my hands have been through so much that I can't. So I'm gonna have to start painting and not caring about straight lines, which is really hard. But yeah, Raynaud's is so weird. It happens if I'm like stressed. It's a certain climate, or it's a certain cold. Like I've been cold and nothing happened, but if I get it's like a humid cold, my hands, they'll turn white, and it hurts so freaking much. You know, that and arthritis. I'm into that. As an artist, I think everyone's biggest fear is arthritis, which anything you do. One time I was like, why do my hands hurt? And I realized I used to do these projects where I just cut little pieces of paper and do like a collage. I'm like, that was dumb. I did that for like 4 years in a row. Like every night I would cut up pieces. Yeah, do not suggest. But yeah, I think a lot of people don't pursue art or push their own creativity because they're so scared of the in-between. Like right now, my painting looks like la merde. Like, what is going on? It's because it's not done yet. When I used to do, I don't do it anymore because, long story. A lot of live like paint classes, like step-by-steps, like in bars or for like family affairs. And that's the one thing I tell people is so many people just give up on their painting because it's not done. Paintings can take years to make. I used to do this series, I can't remember, but it was like the Mona Lisa, just her lips took like so many years to create. Sometimes a painting can be done in minutes, but can also like sit down and come back to it and take your time with it. I have a lot of those. Then you'll become like me and hoard your own paintings. I need a darker color. Well, my paint is still wet. Ooh, this is nice baby blue I created. I say I created, I just mix colors. I didn't actually create it. I don't have that talent. I feel like this is the type of painting I could be done like in seconds. Or just like take my time. I don't know why, but I feel like I keep painting fingers right now. Like grabbing, holding. Okay, this face is already formed, so we're gonna keep it for last. I have an image here that is starting to form, but it's like at an awkward angle because I paint on my couch. I have an easel. I have a studio, but I still prefer painting on my couch. I think it's a comfort thing from when I was a kid. I would paint on the couch. So here we are, full-grown adults, still doing things I did as like a very small child. But now I am embracing it. It's forming itself in front of my very eyes. It's upside down for you, but you see it? It's here. It's another face. I don't know why, man. My subconscious just loves to paint faces. So we're gonna go old school with this face. I'm gonna actually start with a darker color. So I'm gonna go in with like this brownish, I don't know, it's not brown, it's like a burnt yellow. No, this is called 24 karat. Is it? I love this color. I actually have so much furniture this color. Ooh. Girl, why you know so high? Why you know so high? Lower the nose a bit. find the eye sockets. So, the best advice I ever got when it came to faces is there's 3 main lines to a face. The eyes, the nose, and the mouth. As long as those lines are present, people will always see a face. So I have the nose line here, the eyes, and here would be the middle of the mouth. So at the end of the day, that's all you need. We'll give it some more juice there. I don't know who you're supposed to be. So funny, I've been watching, I wish TikTok existed when I was in my early 20s, because man, I used to live in this haunted house. It was so surreal. Like, everyone that came in was like, yeah, this place is haunted. And I ended up painting the ghost. And I didn't even know I painted the ghost. I had someone that was like a medium come in and being like, you know, that's the ghost that lives in your basement. And that freaked me the hell out. So since then, I'm like, whose faces am I painting? Am I painting faces from like my subconscious and stuff? Or is it really just like nothingness? Because like when I paint a face, like right now, I'm not even in charge. It's like le pinceau, the brush is doing all the work. Okay, this image is definitely coming somewhere. Do I want to quit? Yes. Will I? No. The neck is done. Like, I didn't. All right, let's put some yellow onto the forehead. So we're basically gonna build up. So any human being isn't just one color. We have so many different tints and tones in our flesh. And that's kind of how I paint faces, is I try to build up where the light would hit and create different dimensions. I don't want my faces to look realistic. I think that's obvious at this point. Like, I can, don't get me wrong, I can. I think as an artist, you need to learn how to draw even if you don't want to. You learn how to do basic things. So I purposely try to make my faces look, I guess, surreal. I don't know if that's what you would call it. Let me know. But I don't want it to look like a human. I want it to make you feel. Because when I'm painting, I'm feeling, you know? A transmission of feelings. I see where this is going and it's making me sad. But I'm just trying to paint.